I am Ray Dickey from Association Up Now, South Carolina CAI, Hudson Valley CAI. Thank you so much for being here today. I like this program a lot. I was going to say love it, but I felt like I said I loved things too much during the last session we did earlier today. But large scale communities panel discussion. It's basically anything goes, but we do always start off with one topic. And today's topic is going to be about open door policies. And I thought it was really interesting because I think it was Stephanie that had kind of provoked this topic when she mentioned that an open door policy doesn't mean that anybody could just walk in whenever they want and talk to the manager. And I said to myself, you know, we should really do a program on that because everybody uses the word, Michelle, everyone uses the word open door policy, but I don't think everybody actually does it the same way, or maybe even the right way. Before I go any further, if you are here for CEUs, and I apologize, audience, I'm a little disheveled right now with what I have going on here. So let me find my poll here. I am going to launch a poll. If you are here for CEUs, click which one you need. Everyone has a question feature. That's how you communicate with me today. Joy, what am I going to say? Do you want to give it a whirl? What do I always say? You want to try it?
Well, yeah, you say that you are not perfect and you may mess up, but you never have yet. But if you do, then it's okay, but you don't want to mess up. I don't know.
Okay, that's okay. It was pretty close. The way it came out was a little, okay. Everyone has a question feature. That's how you communicate with us today. Ask anything you like to ask. I'm the only person that sees the names. Just keep in mind that I could make a mistake. I never have, so you should feel comfortable asking. Please send me questions. Please send me comments. Wasn't I saying, Joy, how lonely I can get if no one ever sends me any questions or comments?
You did. You do always say that you're lonely.
I know.
You don't like it. You don't like to be here by yourself. You don't like to wing it.
I know. I just feel like I'm here by myself, and the audience helps out so much when they send their comments and their questions in. That being said, by the way, I want to thank everybody who was at the Somerville Expo. Dawn, Joy, you were there. I thought it was pretty darn good. I had a really good time. How about you?
Yeah, oh, I had an outstanding time.
Did you win anything at the party?
No.
I gave away ping pong balls. It was so stupid.
I know. Blue
It was so
one.
stupid. I made it a surprise gift, Nancy, because did you make it, Nancy? I don't know if you were there or not.
I did. Yes.
Did you win ping pong balls?
No. Okay. I won nothing.
Michelle, that's what you win in South Carolina CAI, ping pong balls. I had a whole bunch, you win like 100, hundreds of them we were giving away. It just so happened I had them left over from another event. We gave away some TVs and some other fun stuff. But anyway, with that being said, I want to have our panel introduce themselves with who I see first. And that is Joy. And by the way, Michelle was having some technical difficulties, so I wasn't sure if Michelle was going to make it. So I pulled Joy right out of the audience at the last minute with no warning. And that's how brave Joy is. But Joy, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Joy Strange. I just got my CMCA last year. I am on track to have my AMS by the end of this year. And I'm with a self-managed community here in Columbia.
And you have some staff?
Yes.
At the community. Yep.
It's a 3-person team, yes.
Excellent, excellent. Andrew is one of our industry leaders who will be on standby today. Andrew, please.
Nice to see everyone joining. Andrew Stoutenberg with Reserve Advisors. We do reserve studies. I'm in Austin, Texas. Happy to be here today.
Nancy, thank you so much for being here today.
Nancy Curtis. I am currently the RVP for Charleston, and I spent 7 years as an on-site manager.
All right. Dave Byrne is always nice enough to be here for us, just in case any kind of general legal questions come up. Dave.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dave Byrne. I'm the chairperson of my law firm's Community Association Law Group. I don't know why I'm having trouble talking so far today. We represent condominiums, HOAs, and condominiums in New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you, Dave. Stephanie.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Harmon. I am a large-scale manager with First Service Residential in New Jersey. And I can tell by everybody else's hairdo, it's not raining where you are, where we have humidity and all kinds of things going on today in New Jersey. So.
We should get you one of those green screens and you could be like a weather person. You know what I mean? And hold up signs. Dawn is lucky enough that this is the second time she gets to spend an hour with me today.
I know, I'm so excited. Hi, everybody. My name is Dawn Becker-Durnan, and I'm the practice leader for Acrisure. We provide insurance products for every type of business, but I happen to specialize in community association insurance, and we do this on a nationwide level as well as globally. I am also on the board of directors for CAI South Carolina. I had a great time at the expo. I just want to say, Ray, and to everybody else, I know that we had some people from CAI National come. It was an amazing event, and the turnout is really what makes it so great. I know that I love showing up when we've got interested people. The topics were really good. Everybody was buzzing. It was good.
There was a lot of topics. Michelle, this is like the first time I'm meeting you. I haven't even had a chance to talk to you. Yeah, I know you had some technical problems, but why don't you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Michelle Romito. I'm over here in Virginia, in the backwoods of Virginia. I'm an on-site large-scale manager of a lake community. I will be applying for my PCAM to take it in November. Also an education junkie, so the moment this was mentioned, I'm like, yeah, I come to this. I don't know what this is, but I'm going to be here.
Yeah, you're really brave.
Stephanie, it's raining here and it's humid, and this is the hairdo of the summer because there's no other thing to do with it. It's just big. We just rock big hair here.
Dave, do you have any hair commentary?
No.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I know Dave, so I'm allowed to say things. All right. So large scale panel discussion. And the first thing I like to do is actually what I'm going to do is have our industry leaders jump off, come back like not any later than 20 minutes till the end of the program. Even if I don't ask you to, just make sure you jump back in. Okay. And make notes. If you can save whatever commentary you have until the end, that would be great, guys, so I can concentrate with the managers. But industry leaders, if you need to jump back on, if we're just at that moment, by all means, please do. So the first thing I like to do is just a brief idea of what size your community is. And just tell me a little bit about it. Joy, like in less than 30 seconds.
Okay, we are 1,130 homes, and we have a staff of 3, 2 managers and an administrative assistant. We are self-governed.
Excellent. Nancy.
865 homes, and I didn't have any staff.
Okay. Stephanie.
1,274 homes on 489 acres. We also have a golf course. I have 6 on site plus 5 maintenance.
Yeah, and there's like a million other people running around your place. I've been there. It's unbelievable. Michelle.
We have 2,095 lots. I have 32 employees right now. I have a little more in the summer. Self-governed.
32 and more during the summer?
Yeah, my pool staff in the summer, they're pimps.
You're so relaxed.
You know, people say that. I don't know. I think this is just how I managed not to have, it was either this or complete meltdown. So I just picked this.
I feel like there's probably a disaster going on at this very moment that you're on here. Right? And nobody's barged in the office.
Kind of, yeah. There is actually a fire that was happening today before I got on here. So yeah.
All right. Well, definitely what we'll do is let's talk about open door policy for just a little while. And then Michelle, hold on to that because I'm going to ask you guys like anything interesting happened in your community or anything you want to share. And that may be a really good one. Now, Nancy, you do manage other managers though. So yeah, so you do have some experience in that area. So the first thing I kind of wanted to start off with, like everybody uses the word open door policy. Stephanie, I don't know if you remember what did I find so interesting about the term open door policy and like what it meant and didn't mean? Do you remember what I was talking about, or was it?
No, it was a month ago.
Okay.
No.
Everybody's always talking about an open door policy, but one of the last live streams we did, I may have been Stephanie, it may not have been. Somebody said, hey, that doesn't mean that the door is always open to the manager or the general manager.
Right.
You still need to have procedures in place. So an open door policy just doesn't truly mean, hey, it's an open door, just come on in. Michelle, does that make any sense to you what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and I don't offer an open door policy anyway.
Then,
Because that's how people take it. They think they can come in at any time and speak to me. And so we kind of tell them now whether, usually I'm unavailable at all times and to call back and make an appointment.
you're the exact opposite. I'm so glad you're here of the live stream that we're doing today. We're trying to tell people how to do an open door policy today.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you could help us explain like what you found that you didn't like about it so much and what some of your challenges were. How's that sound?
Sure. Right
Okay.
this minute?
No, we'll get there.
Okay.
We'll get there. All right. So the first thing that and I'll start with Stephanie. I came up with the word boundary, Stephanie.
Mhm.
Why don't you run with it
So
from
you
there?
came up with boundaries. I always talk about structure. And with any kind of policy, there has to be structure, but I understand like there's boundaries. So there's for us, there's two open doors, right? There's the open door for my staff, and then there's the open door for the homeowners. And like Michelle, my door's not open to a lot of homeowners. It's open to my board, obviously, and other members of that. My manager and my assistant community manager, their door is open because they need to be addressing the concerns of the homeowner. But we continually here educate on the structure of what the office policies are. And if we're not doing that regularly and on a quarterly basis, those boundary lines that you put up there, Ray, and they're going to get crossed. And you have to continually educate on that when you have such a large community, as I'm sure Michelle understands, as well as Joy, that you have that many people moving in and out of your space. You got to have that structure. And without that structure and those boundaries, you're not going to get anything done all day. And then you're sitting there till midnight trying to just get your work done.
Okay. So Stephanie, you do have an open door policy though. You do call it an open door policy, correct?
Yes, the management office has an open door policy. The management
Okay.
office has an open door policy.
Joy, do you consider yourself having an open door policy?
I feel like I'm available 24/7.
Okay. All right. Is it you're available 24/7? So anybody can walk in at any time and kind of interrupt you?
I've gotten calls at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. Let's take out the emergency phone calls at 3. Well,
No, it wasn't an emergency.
all right. Do we want to get involved with phone calls at 3 o'clock in the morning today? Like, Michelle, what do you think? I don't think that really falls into our topic. Let's avoid that. Does everybody agree? Let's avoid that part because that's a whole other part of being a manager when you're available. But during the day when you're in the office, you're available basically for anyone just to walk in?
I am.
Okay.
I generally tend to, like Michelle, have a kind of an appointment kind of thing where I'll put them off. I'll say, okay, I'll get to you in like 10 minutes. I'll meet with you in 10 minutes.
Okay. So you have kind of like, I'm having a hard time defining this, Nancy. This is getting rough because Michelle, I feel like everybody's got a little bit of a different thing going here. Let me jump over to you. Now you were like, I don't have an open door policy. You didn't say it like that, but you said, I don't have an open door policy. What do you have? Like, why don't you explain to me, how do you manage people getting in touch with you and your staff?
No, I said that because I was thinking about members, but like Stephanie, I do have an open door policy for staff if they want to come in and I'm available. The only time my door is closed to staff is when I'm in a meeting, like now, or on the phone. For members though, I think it's better to meet their expectations and give them the time that I have available by setting an appointment. So if I only have 5 minutes and that's all they're going to get, they're going to be upset. When they come in, they've come in before and said, I want to speak to the manager, and I'm literally packing my bag to leave for an appointment, and they get frustrated. So to avoid that, I ask people to make appointments, and then depending on what the subject is, I can at least set aside the appropriate amount of time. If I'm not really, I can't say I've ever not been doing anything. But if I don't have anything that I'm going to get really caught up in, I'll leave my door open. And if someone comes in, I'll come out and talk to them just to say hi.
Right.
But yeah, I don't like being interrupted. And in this line of work, and especially with a brain that is juggling 1,000 different things, the moment someone comes in and interrupts that task, I guarantee that before you get back to your desk, somebody's giving you another one. So you're not going to get back to what you started on. And I just try to stay focused.
Here's what I heard, which I thought was really interesting, which I think about. Sometimes having an open door policy can be a negative for your members because you're not really going to be able to give them the time and the attention that you could have if they made an appointment. I never thought about that. I think that's a very important point today. Very important point. Does anybody agree with me on the panel? Okay.
Definitely.
So that's interesting because when you said, oh, I don't have an open door policy, it kind of sounded like, oh, I don't want to do it. But in reality, it's almost to the benefit of the member. Mm-hmm. Michelle, is your staff, if somebody came to your office right now and knocked on your door, who would they meet and who would they see?
Well, the door out there, and I have my own office, is open. So if they come in and they want to speak to me, the staff will say, let me check and see if she's available or if she's in a meeting. Okay. Usually I will just tell them with my arm whether I'm available or not. But yeah, I've actually been trapped in my office by a member before who wouldn't let me leave. I was. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's take a step back. I'm making a mistake in my approach to this. Okay. You guys have your front line, which is an open door policy right there. And then you have yourselves who are running the place and an open door policy. Let's start with your front line. If we could do that. Okay. The people that the residents come to first. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, Joy, in your case, because your community's smaller, they can get to you directly, correct?
Pretty much. Yeah. It's direct to me.
Okay. So you're stuck.
Sometimes I have to redirect them because.
All right. You don't have a frontline guard. Okay. All right. Nancy, do you think I'm going in the right direction here? I think I am.
Yes, I think you are.
Okay. Stephanie and Michelle, you are like, you have like a front line of defense. Mm-hmm. So far, I'm correct, right? Let's talk about that front line of defense. Okay. I know Stephanie has an open door policy for her front line of defense.
Correct.
And I know that her front line of defense is trained and how to handle this open door policy. Michelle, I come to your office and I meet your front line of defense. Is that an open door policy? Can I ask questions? Can I make comments?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. So you do have an open door policy as far as your office goes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Excellent. Stephanie, talk a little bit about the importance of training your staff, your front line of defense on to have a well-equipped open door policy that actually works.
So, well, the first thing, right, if anybody gets to me through that front line, that's their last day of work. No, I'm kidding. So, but I hire, and, we have an excellent team here. And if I'm not giving them the tools where they can just go ahead and answer the questions as they come, then I'm not doing my job correctly. That's the way I feel about it. So everybody has the skills to handle anything that happens. I think one of the downsides is I've been here for a very long period of time at this particular property. I watched it grow from 413 homes, right? So I've been here for a really long time. And some homeowners only just want to talk to me. And in that case, as I'm sure any of the other ladies would say, in that case, then I will make myself available, right? But as the property's gotten bigger and our responsibilities change as communities grow, or they're the sizes of Michelle's and Joy's, you really do need to stay, focused. So my team also knows I keep a cadence, a one-on-one with every member of my team during the week at a specific scheduled time. And that's when they save certain things that don't need to be addressed immediately for our time. I have a 1-hour meeting with all of them. And so then that's our time to really, so that they don't have to knock on the door, because you should be going to somebody else for the answer to that question. Everybody here is capable to answer a question. Everyone here is cross-trained. So that's the way that we kind of have structured it here.
Great. So someone can come to your office and you truly have an open door policy, and most of the time get their problem solved then, or at least get the problem process going without you having to be part of it, because you've taken the time and dedication to train your staff, and you've taken a lot of time and dedication, if I remember correctly.
Right.
Michelle, how does you
day-to-day operations? I don't know if Michelle is, right, but it sounds like her and I kind of are on the same level, where I don't deal with the day-to-day operations. That's what my team is for, and that's why they can have an open door policy.
I thought you and Michelle were on completely different levels, but I'm finding now that you're actually on the same level, I think, because I didn't do a very good job of defining your open door policy as a general manager compared to your staff. Michelle, sticking with your frontline staff, are they trained to understand what the process should be, you know, so they can have an open door policy and try to solve most problems then and there? Do you also, I know I've interviewed Stephanie before and I've been to her community. She puts a lot of time and effort into her structure of her community. What is your commentary in regard to that? Because you have a very large community and a lot of staff.
Yeah, well, that's why we have a lot of staff, so they can all help manage it. But yeah, they are trained to be able to answer everything. Everyone has a lane though here, so they have their own specialty. They can definitely tap into somebody else's lane for to share some information or get them in touch with the person they need to speak to. Hopefully it's not me, because when they do get to me, it's usually a complaint, or it's a procedure that they don't necessarily have access to, and like my staff don't know necessarily if I'm selling a property in here and I'm dealing with title companies and deeds. They don't need to know that. That it comes back to me, those types of things. They'll send my way, but they're all I trained them all. I've done all the jobs in their office. They should be very familiar with the regulations here, and the people who are coming in, that's what they're asking about. They're asking about the rules and how they build something. What are they allowed to do? Or they're complaining about something, asking if that's a violation. So they don't really need to know as much as I need to know. So they're good at their jobs though.
And their jobs are more well defined. Obviously this person knows a lot about like you mentioned a little bit about lanes, and people can cross lanes. So Joy, what I'm hearing, to have a successful open door policy on the front end, is that the right terminology? If it isn't, correct me. Your frontline staff, you have to have that structure and you have to have that training, or it's just going to be pointless and useless. Is that what you heard, Joy?
That's what I heard.
Okay. Nancy, the managers that you manage, do you insist on them having an open door policy?
Yes.
Okay.
We have 13 managers in my office that I manage and 2 ACMs.
So how do you structure the open door policy though? Do you just tell them they have to have an open door policy, or is there a structure that you guys put into place?
We try and have an open door policy for every manager in the office. So if you have a question, you can always come and ask somebody. For people who come to our office to, like Michelle said, maybe have a question that they're not getting what they want, or they have a violation or something like that, then we do have the ACMs that always take those questions first. And then if they can't answer it, which they 100% should be able to, then they would pass it out to that specific manager.
Okay. You said ACM?
Yep. Assistant
what does that stand for?
Managers. Assistant community managers.
Okay. Everyone else in the audience understood that except for me. Okay.
No, I didn't.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So they're trained to help.
Now I don't feel bad, because if Michelle didn't know it, I definitely wouldn't know it. That's for sure. I'm getting a lot of comments from the audience. A lot of people got excited about what Michelle said. I don't know the timing of it, so I don't know what it was in particular. Sorry about that, Michelle. I didn't catch it in time. At my office, we're not supposed to close our office doors, and we can have up to 3 people sharing each office. I have from 10 to 12 each day that is supposed to be completely uninterrupted, but that never happens. That never happens. I meant, I could see why this would be impossible for this person. This is exactly why I wanted to have this session. An open door policy sounds great, right? Oh, great. Sounds kind of sexy. We have an open door policy. But in reality, it's just messing up the whole system anyway. And then, Michelle, once again, I'm so impressed by your commentary that in some cases, you're not really serving the best interest of the residents. Joy, you don't have a choice based on your circumstances, but I bet that would be helpful for you sometimes to answer, right? If you had a little bit more time to work with the residents, you could probably prepare more and the process would be a little bit better. Would you agree, Joy? It's not your fault.
I agree, because there are a lot of reports in this job, and sometimes I'm scrambling.
Joy, a lot of people are telling me, like a lot too, well, now 3, are saying they don't have a front line. So there's a lot of people. It sounds like Michelle and Stephanie would be out of there. If they lost their front line on Tuesday, I don't think they'd be back to work on Wednesday. That's the impression I have.
You make it sound like, we started here. We didn't start here. We grew to these places, right? So,
Well, it's true. And also you're being paid to handle more complex problems. And it's a disservice to pay you at a certain level to handle problems that, quite frankly, they could pay somebody with less knowledge to do. Does anybody in the panel disagree with that?
no.
Okay. We are a smaller business unit and each manager has more than 10 associations. So we require an appointment, but the office door is open for owners to pick up keys and we can help them if they do. But most of the time we are not in the office. Okay. So that's a little bit of I guess that wouldn't work. If I see a lot of people are instructed to keep their doors open. Nancy, is that an instruction you've heard before that you can't close the door?
No, we don't have that at our office. I don't know how people would get phone calls and financials and whatnot done if their door was not able to be closed.
Right. And in my building, we have a huge staff, but we have one of those half doors and then the offices are in the back. So you can't, the half door, does anybody here have a half door? You love it, right?
Yeah, we put them in during COVID so that when homeowners did come after COVID, the staff felt safe because it was a 6 feet distance to their desk so that nobody physically walks into the office anymore. So they're right there.
But like, why, Michelle, do you have a counter or anything? Like, why don't you have, like, this half door is like the best thing ever because Stephanie agrees, like you can't get all the way in. You can just go only so far. It feels like the door is open, but there's like a big, what do you have? Like, Michelle, you have
There's
a
big counter.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
they walk into a giant counter that is has a part of the counter that goes up and down that we can keep closed. It's employees only, so they can't come around. But it's just one big open office out there, so they can see everybody.
But they can't come in.
They can't walk into their workspace, but
And
they
I
can
can't-
come in.
And I can't see the manager's office. Like if I go, I almost never
You
go
can
to,
see my office, but you can't see me.
right, exactly. I never go to the office, by the way. So I don't like to bother them. Most things could be handled. I can't even remember the last time I had to go to the office to bother the manager. Okay, communication channels. Obviously they're important. I don't even know we have to spend time on that. If you don't have good communication with your staff, this whole thing's pointless, right, Michelle and Stephanie?
Absolutely.
Joy, have you attempted anything to try to get people not to have to bother you? But it must be hard because they have such easy access to you. I feel like you're completely unguarded. Do you have a half door or do you have a half door or?
Oh no.
Oh boy.
No, it's a glass door.
Okay. Oh, but is it okay? So, but people could just walk in.
Yeah.
Joy, I know you love your community. It's hard though, right?
Sometimes, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you can't even eat lunch uninterrupted.
That is true. That is
Who eats
true.
lunch?
Right?
It seems unfair to me. I feel like everyone, let's say you're on the phone with your children or something and you're dealing with a problem. It feels like everybody's entitled to a certain amount of privacy. But I guess you can leave and go do that. But even a manager, like, where do you go leave? Where do you go hide? There's no
In
place
your
to hide.
car.
Education is critical. Does everyone on the panel agree?
I
If you
agree.
don't educate your
Yeah.
staff, professionalism is going to be what you need to make happen. All right. I know I keep jumping back to Stephanie and Michelle, but they have the best case scenario here today.
Mhm.
Priorities. Michelle, I'll start with you. I assume is that the biggest training item in your objectives with your staff, is understanding priorities? Or is it one of them? Or if it isn't, what is?
Priority problems or like chain of command? What are we talking
Well, you
about?
tell me. I gave you the keyword. You tell me what it means to you.
For them, it's more chain of command. They are the front staff, like we mentioned earlier. They should be able to answer the majority of the questions. If they can't, then they're going to go try to find, like, as I said, everyone has a lane. So they're going to transfer that person to the next person they're asking a question about architectural items. They're going to send them to our compliance officer. If it's about maintenance, they're going to send it to the maintenance manager. If all of these things don't work, they can come to me. If it's staff, they have a boss as well. So I'm everybody's manager, but they all have another manager. And if they don't get what they want from their manager, then they come and see me. But my first question will be, have you spoken to your manager?
Right. Stephanie, I'm going to give you a simple example. Tell me if this applies. You're bothered because there's dog poop somewhere on the property. That would not be a high priority. But on the other hand, the clubhouse is on fire. That would be a priority you would want to be interrupted for. Is that what we're talking about here?
Well, yes, because first I'd like to get the hell out of here if it's on fire, the clubhouse. But, second, yeah, I think just to build off what Michelle was saying, what may be a high priority for me is not the high priority for the homeowner. And it's a tricky balance with priorities as far as, what the community needs versus what myself or the staff may need. Like you're saying, where do you go for lunch and what do you do for this? And, do you set up again with structure? This is my Catholic school upbringing. It's all about boom, 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 right? My father was also a Marine. So it's boom, 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 boom. We learn structure young that, I don't let anybody take lunch more than 2 people together so that there's always somebody there. So it's about learning that. And then priorities, there's 2 ways to look at that. Like we just said, it's what the homeowner wants, but it's also teaching the priorities to the staff and the role that they're in so that they prioritize their day correctly in order to accomplish the work they need to get done within their 8-hour time period. And, when you really think about it, you don't have 8 hours in your day. You get maybe 4. By the time you come in, you socialize with everybody, you do the little things, you set up your desk, you pull your voicemails, you check your emails. You get interrupted 2 or 3 times just going to the bathroom. That could be 20 minutes, right? And by the time you really get to sit down, you're only looking at maybe 4 hours, 4.5 hours that you can really, focus and do some work. So being able to make sure that they're prioritizing their day correctly is also just as important to me as their GM than as it is to making sure they're tackling the homeowner's needs and the association's needs.
So here's an interesting question. How do you keep your board members from absolutely ruining your open door policies? In this case, someone is commenting, our regime president sits in my office all day. Boy, that is like a giant clog. Now, I don't want to put you on the spot here today to panels. I don't want you to talk about your boards. Okay. I'm not going to do that to you. I want you to talk about the industry as a whole, right? So, Joy, this is a kind of a big problem in our industry because I know a lot of board members who tend to be retired who just hang out in the office all day and the managers are just absolutely helpless. Do you agree? Have you also heard that?
I have heard that and I have actually seen that, but not with my current board. My current board is awesome.
Okay.
And they're all working.
Nancy, how do you communicate with your managers to handle this problem? Because this could be a big problem for a lot of communities. Or let's be honest, does it just come with the territory?
I think sometimes it just comes with the territory. I would also say that our on-site managers would have a conversation with the board to let them know that there's we can't get our work done if they're sitting in our office either chit-chatting or giving us direction, and then that messes up our prioritizing for the day, like what we were hoping to get accomplished the day. So
Yeah,
it's a conversation with your boards.
but if logic worked in our industry, we wouldn't have half these live streams. Trying to have logical conversations with people sometimes doesn't work. For some reason, somebody said I had an honest conversation with the president and it made no impact. So my guess was correct. They probably wouldn't be in there all day if they had any kind of common sense anyway, or some decency. All right, Stephanie and Michelle, you two seem, it's okay if I say you seem tough to me, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean like pride in your profession and setting a tone that like I'm a professional. I'm going to start with Michelle. What is your advice for a manager that finds themselves in this problem with a bigger office? But can we just be honest too? And there is no answer.
About the board?
Yeah. How do you keep board members from just hanging out all day? Because they will, some of them.
Yeah, they will. And I think you need to have some questions prepared in your back pocket, a response already pre-prepared if you know that they're like this. I can speak about my board currently. I have a fantastic board right now. They're very respectful of my time. I've never had to say anything. Previously, there were some talkers. And my first question when they would just come in, they go around the counter. They don't say hi or can we come around or someone available. They just walk in like they're employees and come into my office. And the first thing I say is, hi, how are you? What can I do for you? What can I do for you today? That's your question. What can I help you with today? I have about 15 minutes before I have to jump into something. And then you've already set the tone for that visit. You've given them your time limit. You've told them you're busy. And before, when I first started this job, there were a couple of board members that would come in here. They had already set a habit from a previous manager that they would come in here and spend hours. And at some point, I would just stop talking. I would just turn around and start typing emails and I could talk and type. But if you have somebody you really aren't getting that message through, you need to get busy, start doing something. And they now are not the priority. Your work is the priority. So if they see that, then I think they usually get the hint and wander off. But I've learned though, having that question ready, letting them know your time availability, I can't even say the word, availability from the get-go is important.
I like it.
Give them
if I'm hearing you right, you have some prepared questions, and if that doesn't work, you just start working, and you're actually showing them, hey, I'm a busy person, so I'm not going to talk to you. And then actually, even the most irrational person, what are they going to argue with when you're busy working? Stephanie.
Well, they're paying me to do the job. So if I had all this time to sit around and chat with them, then they're paying me too much. That's what
Stephanie,
I think.
How about not in your case? What advice do you have?
Well,
Same problem.
Yeah, I tend to agree with Michelle a lot here on the comments that she just made. Simply, I'm not getting paid to have coffee and donuts with you. I'd love to, but I'm not actually getting paid to do that. So, and I've even coached my staff with this because our conference room at this particular location, there's doors in and out of both. Even today, I have board members that show up an hour and a half early for the workshop session, right? So it's, hi, how are you? Did we make an appointment today that I forgot about? No? Okay, I have a ton on my plate. I'm going to go. You can stay in here all day. Make your phone calls, do whatever you want, but I'm going to go back to my desk and work. And, or we shut the doors to that adjoining space. So I think what's really important is every single time you have an election or if you have new board members come on, it's about training them in those, when you're doing your board training, it's about discussing those boundaries with the staff right up front. It's about managing those expectations right up front. If you need me, I'm here for you, but you have to give me, you got to schedule time. so that I know that I can dedicate that time to you, whether it's me, whether it's my manager, whether it's the lifestyle person doing events and activities. And as long as you're managing that expectation, you're treating them all exactly the same, it just kind of flows. You know, I mean, I have one
Right.
comes
Okay.
in, you know, it's all what you need to
Right.
do. It's about that balance.
I heard treating them the same, right? To me, that
Yeah.
seemed like a really, really important point you had. Treating them all the same. That right there could probably solve a lot of your problems and a lot of hostility that you may not get. I'd like our panel to jump back on now also. I am thinking of something with Stephanie and Michelle, though. If I worked at your office, you guys would hate if I worked there because I would want to come in your office all the time and just like talk about things and plan our lunch and everything and talk about where we're going to eat.
I'm not
How
saying
long?
that-
How long would I last at your office, Michelle? About what? A day until you got rid of
I
me?
have one of those. I have one here
Oh.
like that. She loves to come in and shut the door and just talk
Funny.
about whatever. But
Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of the same thing. At some point, I'll turn around and say, okay, I have to get back to work. And it doesn't
Joy,
offend her. She knows.
I would do it with Joy, but her office sounds crazy. There's like absolutely no barriers whatsoever. I'm not going anywhere near there. Joy, I'm not as tough. I can't deal with it. Stephanie would throw me out in about a heartbeat. That I know. It's just not going to happen. You know what I mean? I probably get a notice like the next day or something. All right, let's do closing thoughts, and then let's not do closing thoughts. Panel, what did you pick up? What advice can we kind of wrap this up with today? And we have a little bit of time to give managers about how an open door policy should work and not work. And I think we had a lot of different viewpoints. I'm actually so happy that Joy jumped on, by the way, with a smaller community. Oh, and one last thing. The audience member that the two of them that sent me about the president, thank you. This is what I'm talking about, using the question and comment feature. That wasn't even on my radar today. So that's why audience participation is important. Okay. Let me start with Andrew. Andrew, kind of a short, what were some of the key points that you heard today? Were you paying attention or were you working?
I was paying attention, and I
Okay.
think it's just making sure it's clearly communicated. I was actually out of property doing a reserve study this morning, and the relationship here, how it relates, is there's so much poor communication in our industry. Boards not knowing what the management team does or doesn't do. Homeowners then are in that mix. So as it relates to this open door policy, it's just making sure that it's extremely clear. Because what I've learned is what's most frustrating when someone walks into any of y'all's offices, and this is all, large scale on site, if they don't know who to ask or how to get something simple accomplished, that drives them crazy. So just good, clear communication.
Dawn, before you comment, one thing for Joy, it's really hard for you to have controls in place, Joy, because you're not going to be able to, right? If everyone has full access to you at any time, besides finessing personal relationships and knowing how to deal with people that I know you know how to do, you're kind of stuck. Do you agree, Joy? You don't?
Well, not really, because I can always give them a task. Like, hey, would you do me a favor? Can you go pick up lunch? Can
I
you
like it.
do something? So, I mean, if you give someone an assignment, then they want to get out and do. So I have workarounds.
You do. I know, because you're always such a good mood. So I know that you do. Dawn, what do you think is a key point we can pass along to the viewers as far as an open door policy goes?
Well, I find with a lot of employees, and when we find that there's claims between employees or employers and their employees, it tends to be with structure. And as everybody's pointed out, having some type of structure or rules in place is really helpful. I also would advise of time blocking. It's really something that I found to be successful for myself, because like everyone here, we get inundated and it's very difficult to remember, where was I? And I can't tell you how many open emails that I haven't finished, right? So time blocking is where I create a point in my calendar that says 2 hours today, I am only going to concentrate on certain items, or I block a time for a certain type of different thing that I have to do. And it works very well for me.
Nancy, do you use time blocking?
I do. I time block for myself every day. Yes.
Okay. I'm curious, do you ever time block? I don't want to get sidetracked on a topic here, but just for yourself to take a break?
Sometimes, but not normally.
Yeah, you're like me. Like I think I know I should and I should do it and I
Yes.
don't. Michelle, do you use time blocking?
I should. Maybe I wouldn't look like a workaholic if I did that, but no, I'm not very good at that. I will admit.
I like that we're being honest, right? Because obviously Michelle and everybody here in the panel does a great job, or you wouldn't be employed at this level. But I like that we're being honest that we know we should time block and we're not. Stephanie, how about you?
No, no, I don't.
Do you believe in time blocking now? Because I think Nancy and Michelle and I believe in it, and we just don't do it. Do you? Okay, but you don't do it either?
I do. Do I believe in it? Yes. And when I have a specific task, and I will during our team meeting every morning at 10:30, from 10:30 to 11, I'll say to the staff, listen, nobody bothers me for the next 2 hours because I have to get this accomplished, right? I don't structure it, I guess, like Dawn does, physically into my calendar. It's based on the tasks that I need to do. But like for the other managers, for the industry standpoint, you can set up a whole day, and I'm so happy if I get one thing on my things to do list done that I had pre-planned, because it's constantly changing just based on, I could have a medical in the next 5 minutes and I'll be like, boop, I'm out, because I'm going to go help that homeowner, kind of a thing. And that just messes up that whole thing of time blocking. We do block from 10:30 to 11 every single day here, to review the day's activities and challenges and be able to set up. That's the only time block that we do.
Audience, I use time blocking to focus on emails and then return voicemails, and another for action item and to-do list items. That is great. So far, I'm hearing though from our panel, and I'm admitting it myself, I know I should time block. I know I probably could, but I can't do it. I don't have the willpower just to walk away. It's so sad. Ugh. Okay. Now, Dave, somebody asked, when the president, one of the managers on the panel mentioned someone standing in front of them, if you could have a trap door, like I think it was on the Munsters, where you just hit the button and the person just falls. Dave, is that legal or illegal to physically use a trap door?
That's a rhetorical question, right? I would I like Dawn's answer, which is not a surprise, about the structure. From like a lawyer perspective, her answer was targeted towards like things that give rise to claims and stuff, which are the interpersonal, private sort of interactions that are subject to a variety of different interpretations. That's, I think, important. But like as a legal matter, I like interactions between managers and owners to be in writing, or to be with witnesses, and that interactions between management and board members to be in writing, or only in the context of a board meeting. Management contracts with certainly some of the larger, more extremely professional and structured management companies, they have protocols in these contracts or in subsequent addendums about board liaisons, who gets to talk to management and who gets a response from management, that kind of thing. And I think those help to eliminate or avoid potential legal disputes, frankly.
That's a great point. Stephanie, how do you know what your staff is up to out front, and how do you know it's working well? Do you find out about it after the fact, or what is your process? Like, we're talking about all these protocols and all this structure, but how do you know it's actually working right?
Because if it wasn't working, the complaints would be great.
Okay.
So I would be getting complaints and phone calls and emails, and there would be posting on the community Facebook page about what a this one was, and that, that kind of stuff. When those forms of communication are silent, then I know everything is flowing the way that it's supposed to be flowing.
Michelle, do you agree? How do you know what's going on at your front office? And you have a lot of structure. How do you know it's working?
They're very loud, so I pretty much hear every conversation out there, even with my door closed. I also have a TV with security cameras, so I can see everything that's going on. But they're very talkative. If there's an issue, they're going to come in here and speak to me. They're not going to speak among themselves if they don't know the answer, or if they're upset about something, they'll come in here. So yeah, we're close. It's not a big office, so we're close in distance, and we just are very tight knit here.
Have you ever heard anyone, this could have been years ago, and the person's not here now. Have you ever just cringed when you've sat in your office and heard your staff maybe like having a conversation that wasn't accurate? Oh, Stephanie's nodding her head, I think.
Yeah.
How about you, Michelle?
Yes. Yeah.
That's hard, right? Because
Yeah.
you run out at that, you got to decide whether to run out at that very moment or to wait, I guess, right?
Yep, you do.
Stephanie, is that hard for you also to decide when to intervene?
It's very hard for me. It's very, very hard for me because when you know the information and you just want to go out and deliver it, but then you don't want to undermine your associate because you want them to, learn and grow but give immediate feedback. But when it starts to go off the rails, you got to just get up. But if they're trying to correct it and whatever, you just kind of let it ride and see what happens.
Okay.
But be there. You got to be there just in case. So
Right. All right, I'm going to fly through the panel really quick and just see if there's anything we forgot, and then I'm going to go to like closing thoughts with you guys. A couple of people have sent me some legal questions that are state specific, so I'm going to just kind of send them to the attorneys that represent those states and see if I can get you an answer for that. A lot of people use surveys. We've done entire live streams on how to use surveys and things like that. All right, very, very quickly, Dawn, any aspect that we maybe did not mention? I think we did a pretty good job covering.
No, the only thing that wasn't mentioned is what does this management team do if they're not being treated fairly? What's their mechanism to report distress in the event that someone's mistreating them, verbally abusing them, violent, threatening? Because oftentimes where we're seeing the claims is when the employer, perhaps of the management company, did not address their employees' claims. And when you're working as an agent on behalf of the association, it can be difficult as far as the complexity of, are they an employee? Are they not? And Dave, I'm sure, gets into a lot of those scenarios because that's where the courts can come in and make that determination.
All right, hang loose, Dave, but keep that thought. Joy, that's a really great point. You don't have that issue though, right? Because if there's an issue or someone's abusive, you're dealing with it directly, correct?
I deal with it directly, yes.
Okay. Nancy, you would get that second hand up the command chain, correct?
I would, yes.
Okay.
And
All
then
right,
I
this
would
is
deal
what-
with it from there.
Right. This is where it gets tricky. Now, Michelle, yeah, people are abusive, right? You have this structure in play and somebody just doesn't want to play by the rules. How do you decide what to intervene, and how much abuse do you expect your staff to put up with and before it goes up the chain to yourself?
Yeah, I talk to them when they're hired about the abuse. I kind of try and get a feel for how much they can handle, first of all, because you do have members in here that can be really rude and abusive. And you sometimes have employees or board members that can be that way. But I do have a line I draw, and the moment names start being called, I'm going to step out there and I'm going to intervene and take over that situation. Phone calls, I'll actually ask them to hang up on the person. They can let them know that when you're ready to have a conversation with me, you can call me back and hang up. With board members and staff, there are policies in place for treatment, the way the expectations of treatment. And if you don't feel you're being treated fairly or it's being abused by a board member or an employee, they can either follow that chain of command up to me. If I'm the problem, they can speak to the
Right.
board. If the board's a problem, it just keeps going up.
So Stephanie, I'm hearing from Michelle, and you correct me, Michelle, you even have a structure in play for that scenario also. People know what action should be taken when they find themselves in that situation. You have that conversation before when they first start. Stephanie, how do you handle that? Because I didn't realize Dawn's right. This is an important part of having the proper structure, is have something in place to protect your employees.
Yeah. So
I work for a management company, right? So our company has the steps, and it's an anonymous hotline in which you can call and report, not a homeowner, but if you're having issues with another associate that you're working with. So we have that in place through our HR department. But as it would relate to a homeowner or a board member, right, the step is once it gets reported to me, I bring it to the board, and then the board needs to bring it to the attorney. And we've recently had a situation like that. So the board is really on the hook when a homeowner is becoming abusive. They're the governance team here, and I'm sure Dave could speak more to that. But they're the ones who would have to move forward and support that staff member for what's happening and what's not happening, or the names that are being called, like Michelle was saying, or the hanging up and the abusiveness, and the snow being dumped on your desk because you didn't clear their driveway soon enough, and this shit happens. Right? Oh, I'm sorry. These things happen, but anyway, that's where the board needs to step up, and protect that's here. So.
Well, that's horrible. I cannot even imagine a workplace where everyone's nodding their head like they can. Oh my gosh. Okay. Andrew, before I go to Dave, shocking with the snow on the desk, but everyone loves engineers, right? So you never get any, you're fine, right?
Yeah, no, it's pretty easy over here compared to what managers deal with.
I know. All right, Dave. A bunch of legalities were thrown at us a second. And actually, you were ahead of the game. You already kind of brought this up with the professional management contract. But what is your commentary in regard to what you've heard today and about people being abused? Whether you're self-managed like Michelle or part of a big company, or you're just Joy out there with her door wide open.
Well, I would first say that the person who dumped snow on my desk, I could prove malice, because in order to get the snow from the outside to my desk without melting, they would have had to put it in like a freezer, which clearly involves like significant planning. So I would say that the first thing. Second thing is, I guess it's just it's very challenging, but it's real. A lot of it really comes down to it's difficult with, I guess, within a community that's managed by an individual person that's not a management company employee. But really, the leadership of a management company is the ones that really have to patrol and control these things. They're supposed to be the ones that are essentially willing to end a relationship with a client if things aren't handled a certain way. That's very difficult to do, more easy to do for a larger management company, especially maybe with the community they're looking to dump to anyway, which does happen. But yeah, the leaders of the management companies have to be, they have to be willing to enforce these kinds of things, because then they have their own exposure. Because if they don't deal with potentially awful things like dumping things on someone's desk, I mean, that's like a serious problem. And if management company doesn't deal with that, the employee's got a claim not just against the knucklehead that dumped the stuff on the desk, but has a claim against the management company.
All right, so let's do this really, really quick, like 20 seconds each. Joy, anything to add? I think we covered a lot. I think we gave people more to think about stuff than actual solutions to a lot of things, but go ahead.
Nothing to add.
Nancy.
I don't have anything to add now.
Michelle, with everything you have going on, I'm sure there's probably so many things we left out.
Probably, but I'm just really hyper focused on Joy over here, who I really feel like, I don't know your situation, but you got to get some boundaries in place with those people who are calling you at 3 a.m. or just walking in your door. You're never going to have any peace.
I think the thing with Joy, though, is you legitimately love your job and you love the Dawn, and I know Joy. Right, Joy? I just want to make that clear. You love your job, and for the most part, the people love you there, right?
That's true.
We're talking about we're talking about such rare case scenarios here, especially in Joy's at everything, and everybody knows her, and everybody thinks she's terrific. She has a huge support staff in and out of her own community. Would you feel like that, right, Joy?
I do. Yes.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. Joy, I know.
Like, oh, she's going to get abused over there.
Don't worry about Joy. Joy's fine. She's got a lot of options, believe me. Stephanie, last word. 10 seconds.
Time to laugh.
Okay. All right. I want to thank everybody. Michelle, it was nice meeting you. Nancy,
Yeah.
Joy, thanks for diving in. Stephanie, always great to see you. industry leaders, I appreciate you just hanging on and jumping on in case we need you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here. And I don't think
Thank
we're
you.
on next week because I'm traveling, but we'll see everybody soon. Bye, everybody. Thank you for
Bye.
being here.
Thanks for having us.